love her so much. The jewel training that I went to in Arizona was so special to me. And it was because of Emily and her friends Jordan and Joanna. And my favorite part of that night was the three of us took off, ended up at an Italian restaurant after celebrating Jen Lee's birthday in an escape room. I think it was Italian. Maybe it started Italian. We ended up somewhere. But it was like one of those nights that was so special and so real and raw that we didn't even take a picture. Now, you know that when 4 Plexus girls don't take a picture, they're all caught up in the moment. I love that she's real and genuine. And on a business level, one of my favorite things about Emily is she's always hungry. She's always looking to improve. Every conversation we have, she's like, what do you think about this? What can we do about this? How can we make this better? You inspire me every day. And I love you, friends. I know you've only got 30 minutes, so I'm just going to pass it over to you. I've got my notebook ready and I'm ready to learn. So take it away.
Lane, I love you so much. I'm so sorry. I was an eager beaver and I got onto this call 45 minutes ahead of time just because I wanted to have it ready to go whenever we made dinner. And then I got on and I couldn't hear a thing that you were saying. So I think it was me. I'm so sorry I had to jump off, but I'm so excited to be on this call, to be a part of this team. I mean, I'm not a part of the team, but we are. Like, it's one Plexus. That's the beautiful thing, that if you've not yet connected with people on your team, if you have not yet connected with people outside of your team, you are greatly missing out. The relationships and the community are some of the most incredible things I've ever been a part of. And I grew up doing all sorts of sports, doing all sorts of like extracurricular activities where I was around people all of the time. And I have never in my lifetime been around a group of men and women specifically, that rise and lift one another up, that encourage and support and pray for, and don't have that weird like jealousy thing going. Like, you are embraced. And I was actually writing today on my team page about convention because, as you all know, it's gone virtual. And so we're creating, this small group of us are creating like a mini convention. And I was writing about my very first experience of convention, and I had only been a part of Plexus for 2 weeks. I hadn't made a penny. I was still like having the nervous poops every time I'd like think about Plexus, all the things. And my upline, who's Tamara Holloway, she's like, Em, you need to come to convention. I was like, what in the heck? No way. And my husband, he was also saying, we need to make sure that this is actually something. Like, we need to make sure you're making a little bit of money before we put forth money to go do this convention. And in my mind, I was thinking like, I'm going to go to this place and there's going to be like this arena of crazy network marketers who are like chanting Plexus. And that's like not me. That is not my scene. So for 4 years, I have said no. Like, I said no to Plexus. For 4 years, I was like rolling my eyes at people, not really in an ugly way, but just in a way of like, I would never, ever do that. I threw samples in the trash because I didn't trust the products. I didn't understand them. And so when it came time for me to like kind of start my business, and my upline encouraged me to do something out of my comfort zone. I already was doing something out of my comfort zone with doing this business. When she encouraged me to do that, that's where my mind took me. And then when I went to convention, I was a silver ambassador. I started in January of 2017, and convention was the very end of May. I was a silver ambassador. So I hope you hear that, because there are a lot of people that go silver in like 2 weeks. It took me 5 months to go gold. So I was sitting at silver for many months. So I went as a silver ambassador, and the energy, the excitement, the passion, you guys, I cried when they announced that they were doing like kid chewables that had probiotics in it. I was sitting there crying. I'm like, I want them now. I want them. But it was just beautiful. And so I encourage you guys, all of that to say, long story short, know that the heart of this organization, I almost said ministry, because that truly is what it is for many, many of us. But the heart of this organization is so beautiful, and it is so unlike anything you will ever be a part of. But you have to take those steps. You have to go and be invested. You have to reach out and get to know people. With Lane, I didn't know her from Adam, but Krista Deary said, hey, I've got a girl that you were senior Ruby, I think. She said, I've got a girl that's senior Ruby. She's my next runner. She's going to be big time. She's going to be on that cruise with you. You need to go meet her. I see this beautiful girl who looks like a Barbie doll. She's just popped out a baby and she's like in a bikini, but I see her and I just go and I talk to her. And like, I would never do that. I would never do that like before Plexus. And so there's just beauty that comes from these relationships. So I appreciate that Lane was talking about being real and authentic, because I'm sitting here. You guys look on my notes. Here's my notepad. If you can see, my child drew a pig on there. That's what I'm using for my notes. Is that not hilarious? But as I'm sitting here, I was like typing out my notes or writing out my notes of what I wanted to talk about. And I just felt like, because she said, I want you to share what you're passionate about. Share what like gets you excited. And I just have a whole list of things. Like there's not a beautiful like 5-step system I'm going to be sharing with you. I just am going to be real and honest. And I actually was messaging Tamara Holloway, who is my upline. I was messaging her today about this call. And I said, I actually have a call in 5 minutes with Lane. And I'm a little nervous because I kind of am doubting myself. And I said, but you know what? I think that's a really good thing, because I think it's really important for us to be able to share, like, even when you're at diamond level, you don't know everything. Even at diamond level, you get really nervous to come and give wisdom and to give, whatever you're passionate about and give direction. Like, that's normal. And so I want you to know, like, if you are in a place where you are new in your business, or you may be seasoned in your business and you might be doubting yourself, like that's normal, but you can get out of it. You need to get out of it. And so I have a few things I want to talk to you guys about. And I know that Lane shared a little bit about things that I'm passionate about, being consistency. Now that tagline, or that, whatever that she wrote about, consistency trumps intensity, I can't claim that. That was a Bob Heilig quote. If you guys don't know Bob Heilig, I highly encourage you to go and listen to some of his podcasts. You guys, he is phenomenal. And all of his stuff is super tangible. Like, you're going to listen to all of his podcasts and it will help you grow your business. And so that's where I want to encourage you. How many of you in the chat, I would love for you to type out, and this is a no shame, no guilt. I'm just curious to know, how many training videos or personal development do you do or watch once a week, or like every week? How many would you say? I'm not wording that right, am I? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how many training videos do you watch a week? If it's 0, that's fine. I want to hear that. Okay, 5 a week, daily, 1 a day. Anybody else? No shame. I just want to really push here that you will not grow in your confidence and in your knowledge and in your belief if you are not training yourself. When I started out, you guys, I was so afraid to become one of those girls. I was so afraid. I valued friendships so much. And because I was so skeptical beforehand, because I said no for 4 years, because I knew how I felt about people who were doing network marketing, I did not want other people to feel that way about me. I was so afraid. I knew nothing about gut health. I knew nothing about doing a network marketing company. I knew nothing about running a business. All I knew was I was running on fumes because I was exhausted as a mother of 2 young girls, and I was so tired of being tight financially. I knew that the products worked. I knew that I was sitting on a dadgum gold mine, because I knew that if I didn't start sharing about it, somebody else would. Somebody else who was in my network would, and they would start sharing with my friends. I knew that that would happen. I knew it because I knew that Plexus had incredible products and had an incredible generous compensation plan. And so I had to train myself. So here are a few things that I'm going to encourage you, whether you are brand new and you're scared to death, whether you are seasoned, whether you have been here for a long time, whether you're in crazy momentum. These are things that I see working, that worked for me, and that I see working for my team. One is you have to be committed. And I'm not just saying like, I'll try it out. We'll see. We'll see. My husband and I went on a 4-mile walk today to go get an egg sandwich for breakfast. It was awesome. But we were on our walk today and we were talking about my business. And we were talking about how some people come to Plexus and I think they see this as a lottery ticket, right? Like I think they see, oh, Lane Loftus, she's a diamond ambassador. I see those income charts where diamonds make on average $34,000 a month. Okay, I'm going to try this out. And they try it out for a few months and then it gets hard. They don't have a really, really strong why that is driving them. They have this idea of, I want to try it out, see if I can make some good money. Well, here's the thing. I've never been a runner. And if I have a marathon that I want to run, I cannot practice a few times and then go run a marathon, right? Like that's how it is with everything. We cannot expect for us to pop some supplements and then have an incredible before and after 3 weeks later. We can't expect to come into this business half-hearted or even full-hearted. And then after a month, 2 months, 3 months, if we're not making really great money, oh, it's just not for us. You have to work for things. And so being committed is so, so important. And being committed to that marathon, it is not a sprint here, you guys. It is not a sprint. And I will tell you, there are some people that fly. There are some people that do phenomenal and they're still flying. But my experience, I don't know how it is with you guys, but those people who fly really, really fast, it's kind of like a comet. A lot of the time I've seen it, they go really fast and then they get stuck for a minute and then they start to freak out and then they stop. So I really appreciate when people are slow and steady and consistent and coachable and have a really great commitment, because that's what this is for, right? Like Jen Leith, she's one of my favorite people in the world. And one of the things she says that I love is we came into this for time freedom. So what type of freedom are we doing if we are working 24/7 all around, like having zero life? And I know that Lane spoke to that from my team call a few weeks ago. So I just think that having a commitment to really be being strongly committed to your business is beautiful, but also it's super important to have boundaries. One of, I don't know if you guys have read any of these books. Rock Your Network Marketing by Sarah Robbins is a really, really great book. It's really great as you're starting out your business, but I'll be honest, I didn't start reading this until I was a diamond. So this is for anybody. Okay. So this is a really, really good one. But she says in this book, she says, you can work your business part-time, but not sometime. So that leads me to my next thing, consistency. Okay, so going back to the Bob Heilig, consistency trumps intensity. 1000% believe that. 1000%, because I have seen people on my team and across the board who have so much potential. They have thousands and thousands of Instagram followers. They have beautiful pictures. They have a beautiful story. They have a strong why, but they are not consistent. They'll go in little chunks. So like 1 month, they'll be really intense. And then their team won't hear from them for a month or 2 or 3. And then they'll hit it again and they'll go really intense for a month. But it's like, that's draining for them. That's draining for their team. And that hurts their credibility. So I think slow and steady and having that consistency, getting into action, knowing what you need to be doing every day. And you guys, it's a hard job, which I appreciate it's hard, because I remember feeling like, oh, this is too good to be true. This is too good to be true when I was so skeptical, but I love that it's not. I love that it's challenging. I love that it pulls out that personal development in us. I love that it helps us to reflect on, like, who are we living for, right? We're living for an audience of one, but also like we're being able to develop ourselves and our confidence, and our children are able to see that and our teams are able to see that. That's so very, very important. I don't even know what I'm saying right now, Lane. You guys are probably like, your eyes are probably like all spinning. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just like going because I just feel very strongly about all of these things. But being consistent means getting into action daily. And the things that we encourage our team to do every single day, again, it's simple doesn't necessarily mean it's easy, but it's simple. You're reaching out to people. And when I say that, I don't mean you're copying and pasting, because people can smell that a mile away. Something that I really loved from day one with Tamara was she would say to me, quality is so much more important than quantity. Because a lot of times I would like watch different training videos or see different people posting about how they, you know, sent out 100 messages in one day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, as I'm like writing out 2. But that gave me a lot of freedom and knowing that it's really important to share from your heart, because there are a lot of people out there doing network marketing. There are a lot of people out there sending copy and paste. So you've got to make sure that your post or your message stands out. Let your post or your message be a scroll stopper. And the way that you do that, specifically when you're reaching out to people, is making it about them. Stop making it about us. Stop making it about, oh, this is something that I don't really like. And if you do this, know that this is just me and my personal thing, because I had for 4 years so many people messaging me to do network marketing with them. When people say, hey, I know you've probably seen all my posts, that makes me want to shrivel up and die when people say that, because I'm like, no, actually I haven't. Make it about me. And I want to tell you, with Tamara Holloway, when she messaged me for 4 years, every single time that she would message me, it would be about me. It would be about, Emily, I believe that you could do this because X, Y, and Z. Emily, I see this in you, and I believe that you can do this because of X, Y, and Z. And so when my time came, my belief was big in myself because her belief in me was big. She didn't make it about her. She made it about me. So I encourage my team, when you're sending out reach out messages, so let's say I want to send a message to Erin right over here. I'm going to tell Erin, like, Erin came to my mind because of X, Y, and Z. Like, I think Erin would be amazing at this business because she's driven. She loves people. She has such a generous, kind heart. I'm going to tell you that, Erin, like, I think you'd be amazing at this because of X, Y, and Z. Have you ever thought of, or have you ever heard of Plexus before? Right? Like, that makes it about them. That makes your message stand out. So that way, if they're like, no, I'm not really interested, you can go to sleep well at night knowing that you have just lifted somebody up. You have poured love into them. You have poured belief into them. And if it's not their timing, that's fine. But you went about it in a really honorable, beautiful way. So being consistent, being committed, getting into daily action, doing your reach outs, following up with people, that's so very important. Sharing on social media from your heart, and training. This is where I asked at the very beginning of how many of you guys are training. That was something I desperately needed because, like I said at the beginning, I had no idea what in the heck I was doing. I had no idea how to post. I had no idea how to reach out to people. I had no idea about the products. And my belief and my confidence was continually built because I was doing that training. And Lane, I don't know about you, but I know for me, I listen to or watch at least 1 or 2 trainings a day still. Because now I have a team who's in a place where I was 4 years ago that's asking the same questions that I had 4 years ago. So I want to be able to make sure I can help them and give them those third-party tools, because as you guys know, like, we don't need to be the expert here. That's not duplicatable. But when we have these resources where we can say, oh, you're struggling with cost objection, look at this really great training video I watched. It's only 6 minutes. I'm going to send it over to you. And that's going to help get them into the rhythm of training. And that's also going to help them have more confidence in knowing how to respond to those things. Okay, what else do I have here? Consistency, being committed. I said it here, action cures everything. That's the thing, is I have a lot of people on my team that just will, not a lot. Okay, start over. That's not true. I have some people on my team who will say, I feel stuck. I feel stuck. And then when we get down to it, they haven't done anything for 2 months because they have this overwhelm because they don't really know where to get started. And so whenever my people come to me like that, I'll just say, let's send a message. Like, who have you thought of this week who could benefit? Let's send them a message. Why do you think they could benefit? Just like I did with Erin a minute ago. What made you think of them? Okay, I'm going to help you. How does something like this sound? And I will help them type up a message and get them started again, because action cures everything. And I'm telling you, I have an amazing girl on my team that I just love so much. And she is just full of passion, but She sometimes goes through on and off, hot and cold, and she will tell me, it feels so good to get back into action again. And you can just see that fulfillment in her. Action cures everything. And then the last thing I'm going to say, I'm sorry, you guys, I'm all over the place, but this is what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to have it all together. Like, you just have to do the things and have passion and train yourself. Be consistent. Network marketing professionals take accountability for their actions, daily activity, and they own their results. So this is not a lottery ticket. This is not something that people come in and get lucky with. This is not because you're beautiful Lane Loftus and you have a YouTube channel and you guys own a shack that you rent out. This is not because I live in Boise, Idaho, and it's untapped here. That's not it. It's because you have committed, you are consistent, you are loving your people, you're getting into action, and you are just doing the things daily. And I want to address one last thing, because I know so many of us, every single leader has felt this way. So if you are sitting here feeling like, oh, it sure would be nice to have a team, I don't even know who to love on. Like, no one wants to do this business with me. No one wants to do this. That's the thing, is people need to know that you're serious about this, because like I said, so many people come into network marketing thinking, oh, I see that homegirl is making $20,000 a month. I want this. And then they'll go and like start doing stuff, and then they fade out just as fast as they join. And so your people need to see that you mean what you are doing. They need to see that you're consistent. They need to see that you are committed. And so I think Abby Kappa and quite a few other leaders have said that most people do not get a runner under them until they are senior gold. So I hope that encourages you. If you are not yet senior gold and you don't have a runner, I hope that that's not like, oh my gosh, I have to do this all on my own. That's not what I'm saying. You're going to have people that are going to be sharing, but I hope that that encourages you. If you are silver or gold and you're sitting here thinking, it's me, no one wants to do this with me, stop that. That's a lie. You are red lighting right now. Train yourself so you can know how to duplicate. Train yourself so you can know how to get people going and sharing and duplicating. Get that lie out of your head and just know you've got to prove yourself. You have to prove yourself to the people that are watching. So I hope that that is helpful. I'm seeing a lot of things going out in the chat, so I'm going to check and see here. But if anybody has any questions, I would love to help answer them. But I'm going to make sure I'm not missing anything. Lane, if you see anything, you can jump in too.
I'm just saying, right now's your chance, girls. And Barry, I think, was on here. Ask any questions that came to your mind. Emily's totally open. She'll shoot it back at you.
And I love what Brooke said here. She said, I don't know a diamond that hasn't had it hard. It is a marathon and not a sprint. You guys just be connected to your family. If you have a family, share your goals with them. Have them share their goals, like what this could be as a family unit, like what this could do for your family, and then communicate too, because I feel like this is like ministry. You could work this 24/7. And so you do need to have boundaries, because you're not going to enjoy it. You're going to get burned out if you are working all day, every day. You have to be organized with when you sit down to work. And like I said, with that quote, like you can work part-time, but you can't work sometime. So communicate with your spouse, communicate with your family, have family goals here, have small mile markers. And I remember when we hit Ruby, it was huge. And I took my family to get a steak dinner and we just had a huge celebration. Like, make it a family thing. And no, it is hard, but 1000% it is worth it. And I love looking across the board at all the jewels. You see men, you see women, you see young 18-year-olds, you see like grandmas, like you see thin, you see large, you see short, you see tall, you see introverts, you see extroverts. The thing that all of them have in common is belief, commitment, and consistency. That truly is. Anything else I'm missing?
So I have to ask Emily, I'll ask a question here. Of your
Please.
top 3 people that you like to watch when you're doing training? So top 3 YouTubers or podcast or specific diamonds that you follow for your daily trainings. Who's your top 3?
So I'm in the March Momentum. I've done the Momentum Movement, right? Isn't that what it's called? Momentum Movement. I've been doing that since August with Brooke Hemingway and Emily Gibson. I really love to follow them. Even if you're not in the Momentum group, they have some incredible training videos. They're longer, but again, so very tangible. They teach the simple things: reaching out, following up, message, or doing your posting and doing your training, like, and duplication. So I love to watch Emily and Brooke. I also am always listening to Bob Heilig. He's really good. Those are kind of like the main ones I listen to. But I love Jen Leith's trainings. I love Melissa Eichenhorst. If you guys haven't listened to Melissa Eichenhorst, failure, like increasing your tolerance failure, you have to listen. Lane, I'll actually send it to you. She did one for my team call. Abby Kappa, all of her YouTube videos are really good too. She's very simple, very driven, very like into action. Her stuff is really good. I really also, I know Krista Deary and Lainey, I know you guys, why do I call you Lainey? I know that you two both do really good videos too. There's so many great ones out there, so many great ones. And then the cool thing too is with your YouTube is when you're watching these training videos, like the algorithm will know, oh, she really likes Emily and Brooke. And so they will continually pop up some of their stuff.
I love that. Afton had a question. She said, how much time do you block off a day for Plexus?
I think that that's a really hard question that I don't know the answer to, because I have kids and I started when my youngest was 2. And so that looked really differently than it does now with both of them in school. And so, when I first started, a lot of the time, because I was working, my husband was working, had 2 very dependent children. A lot of the time I would wake up at 5:30 on a Saturday morning, and I would go to Panera and I would work and do like a message blitz where I would message out to like 25, 30 people. Again, very like quality, because I came prepared. I had my list of people I knew I was going to message, and I was just focused, laser focused. And then the rest of the week, I would be doing training and following up with those people and doing my posting. So again, that looked different then than it does now, because my kids are in school all day now. So I'm able to have that time. But all that to say, you can get it done. Like I look at Lane. She's got 4 kids. She's homeschooling and she's able to fit it in. But again, it's being organized and knowing what you're doing and being laser focused and knowing what's fluff and what's not. And here's the thing, in my opinion, if it's not reaching out, messaging, posting, or training, it's fluff. And you have to be careful with the posting, because you can get really sucked in on that. You can get really sucked in on making sure you're doing a really great reel or a really great story. And that's something that Brooke and Emily talk about often, is like your posting is only for credibility for your messages. So don't spend all of your time on posting. Your meat and potatoes is with your reaching out.
So good. I had never heard that. Your meat and potatoes is in your reaching out. And
it truly is.
That's amazing. Any more questions? I know Emily has her own team call tonight.
We're okay. One of my girls is leading it, so we're good. If anybody has any questions, I'm here.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I just got to say really quick, a few things that stuck out is, first of all, action cures everything. I love that. Write that on your bathroom mirrors. And remember that Emily told you that. The other thing is, I just was thinking about how it took Tamara 4 years, not 4 weeks, not 4 messages, not 4 months, 4 years of reaching out. And not one time did she put a bad taste in Emily's mouth. Not one time did she make it about her. That is everything. Let that speak to you when you feel like what you're doing doesn't matter, because it does. Look at her. Look at the lives that changed because of Emily. And if Tamara would have given up too soon, none of us would be here tonight on this call listening to Diamond Ambassador. So I just thought that was so cool.
And the thing I love about Tamara and that story is that in 4 years, She only messaged me 3 times about Plexus. And the third time that she messaged me, she just said, Emily, this is the last time I'm going to come to you. If this is not something you want to do, tell me, and I promise I will not bring it up again. But I really think you would be great with yada, yada. And I remember when I got that message, I remember feeling like this relief, like, okay, she's not going to ask me anymore. But then at the same time, it was like, she doesn't need me. Like, she's not fighting for me. She's not desperate for me. And so I think that kind of was like, okay, I don't know if that makes sense to you. But the thing I loved about Tamara was that there was no desperation. Like I said, she only messaged me about it 3 times. But do you know what she did? Every single post I would make, she would comment on it. So I think what she did was, I think she made me, like, she starred me as a close friend of hers because I was a dream teamer of hers. So I encourage you guys to do that. If you have a list of people that you think would be amazing, star them as a close friend. So their posts default on your newsfeed. So you're always seeing them. And so when it came time for me to go ahead and move forward with Plexus, even though I had, like I said, 40, 50 people who had messaged me over 4 years asking me to do Plexus with them, I chose her because she had built a relationship with me. She let me know that it was okay that it wasn't my time. She did not pressure me at all. So I encourage you guys in that. It's all about relationships. Be a human being. Really, I think oftentimes we can get into this sales mode of, I need to have the script and I need to like push them and pressure them. Be a human being. Hear what people are saying and listen and love them.
So good. So good. Any other questions in the chats, or if you guys want to unmute yourself? Oh, it looks like we have one from Sharday. Am I saying that right?
So she says, what do you do if you have someone who messages you about wanting to join, but you kind of have a feeling like they are not serious, they're just looking to talk? How do you handle that? I think questions are really, really important. And then, you know, like I would have to kind of see a little bit of what that conversation looked like to give you exact questions, but I think questions are really important. And then something that I love that Brooke and Emily say is give an action and a deadline. And if they don't do that action or that deadline, then you know that they're probably not serious, unless there's a family emergency or something like that. That's been really helpful because it would be very easy to spend all of our time on all of the people who are not really serious. And you have to protect your time because you're in this for time freedom. And so giving people action steps and a deadline. And when I say that, I mean like, hey, go watch this video and I'm going to get back in touch with you tomorrow to see what you thought. Or, hey, you know, I know we've been talking about you sharing. I know you're really interested in the business. Here's the message that or the post that we kind of drafted up together. Go ahead and get that posted tonight and let me know once you get it done so we can go show you some love. And if they're just not doing those things, it's just probably not the right time for them.
So good. So good. I love the examples. Anybody else? Oh, we still have her?
Yeah.
Brooke?
Hey, I'm going to unmute myself because I just want to talk to Emily C. Burgess.
Hi.
You know how you have these, you know, like the people. Okay, so you, Bridget Ryan, Celeste Gwynn, obviously, but I just want to say hello. And then
those are like top dogs. Whoa.
Fall into that category for me, Emily C. Burgess. Okay. So here's my question to you from a business standpoint. So when do you feel like, or is it situational? When do you feel like you put some of your runners in charge and you actually delegate things, like you hand over big business things to your runners?
Like what type of big business things are you talking?
I mean, just like as far as like delegating things on your team pages or taking care of things like planning things in retreats or stuff like that, really like handing over delegations, or sometimes like freeing you up for like your personal time freedom, you know, suggesting to your runners like, hey, would you take over on, you know, Monday and Tuesday or whatever? Like, how do you assess that, I guess is my question.
Yeah. So, you know, we have a thread of all of our runners and it's all my like levels 1 through 8. Like there's no, it doesn't matter to me. I want everybody to feel a family here. And so, I think it's all trial and error. For example, I have a girl who's really great with customer care and troubleshooting. And I asked her, would she be willing to post something of that nature every Thursday? And so she started doing it. She's a gold ambassador. And then I started to notice that she was like falling back, and she kind of started to get quiet. So you have to be discerning in that, like maybe that's too much for them. I do find, like, if there are people, I'll ask, on my thread, are there people who really are passionate about, for example, meal planning? We have a testimonial page, and I like to give value back to our people who are on that page. And so not just Plexus stuff. And so, we have a few people who are really passionate about meal planning. And so they would do a meal planning post every Saturday. But again, that kind of fizzled out. And so I share that with you because, like, it's just a trial and error. Like, you want to be able to pass off things to people, so that way they have ownership and they feel as if they are like a part of something, and you want people to lead. But honestly, it wasn't until I got Jules on my team that we're really ready to do that, to be at a place to do that. But again, each team is different, but I think you just have to see where their strengths are, pour into them and say, hey, I see this in you. Would you be willing to share every Monday or once a month? Would you be willing to talk to me about doing a retreat together? I don't know if that helps.
So good. And it's truly true. You have to have discernment. It depends on the person. Sometimes you just follow your heart and gut, and sometimes you fail. But like you were saying, Melissa's trainings on failure are so good. So make sure and watch those. I found a quote, and it might have been from the Jewel training that we did together, Emily, but as you were speaking, and I don't know who said this. I'm really bad to write down who said this, but somebody amazing said, productivity isn't about being a workhouse, keeping busy, or burning the midnight oil. It's more about priorities, planning, and fiercely protecting your time. So we talk about time freedom, protecting that, because that's why we started. But that doesn't mean that you don't work. It doesn't mean that you don't work daily. It means that you do it with planning, and you make sure your priorities are in alignment. And sometimes you got to do that weekly. Sometimes you have to do it daily, right?
Yeah.
So anything else you want to share with us?
Well, this is the last thing I'm going to say. John Maxwell is another really great one. I didn't mention him, but he's a really great one to read as you're growing in your leadership. But he talks about how important it is for us to be chief encouragers as leaders, and how, it's easy for us, like as a sideline, for me to, I don't know, like for me to go to Lane and say, Lane, I see that you're doing this and this, and I'm so proud of you. That's one thing. But if Krista, her leader, or Deborah, her leader, comes and says, Lane, I'm seeing this and you're doing amazing, like that's going to make Lane feel differently than if it were for me to her. And so he talks about, as a leader, it's so important for you to be a chief encourager and go and pour into your people and tell them, like, recognize them and love on them for all the things. And then he says, words and actions duplicate down. A leader is only as good as his team. And so what you're doing, what you're saying, is duplicating down. Whether you are a silver ambassador and you have 3 people under you, or you're a diamond ambassador and you have 7,000 people under you, what you do, what you individually do with your business action-wise, and how you pour into your people and love your people will duplicate down. You get to be the creator of your culture, of your team. You get to be the one that's different and not one of those girls or one of those network marketing people. You get to be in control of that culture by the way that you operate and the way that you love your people. So move forward in that. Know that you have a very big role that is very impactful.
You are the creator of your culture. I love that so much. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about pouring into our team. And so my question would be, how soon do you start doing that? So like, say you just started kind of adding people, but you do have a heart for these people. So how soon would you start like creating your own team and then connecting with them? And I mean, because they're already your team essentially,
Mm-hmm.
but like actually having your own kind of team page where you just kind of check in with them, and that's your own little kind of group thing where you can individually like check in with them versus putting it on a huge thread?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a really great question. And that's something that I am very passionate about, because what I have seen is people get their team page way too early, and then they go from being moving forward in their business and doing their own personal work to now they're in management mode. And so I know that there are a lot of leaders, including my upline, who, and I've been referencing Tamara a lot because she's like the third highest paid ambassador within Plexus. I mean, the girl knows what she's doing. She knows her stuff. And so I listen to her. And she has always said that she does not encourage people to get their own team page probably until they're about Jewel. Because you can still pour into your team without a thread or without a team page. So what I would encourage you to do as you add all of your people individually, get on Marco Polo and send them quick messages. Hey, I know that you've been on your products for a week. I wanted to see, how are you feeling? Are you having any detox? And list out the detail, like build relationships that way, and wait on that management mode, because that will kill your business because that's what you're going to do. When you have a limited amount of time and you have a team page, you're going to spend all your time pouring into the team page rather than pouring into your people individually. So get in touch with your people, send them messages individually, send them Marco Polos individually, call them up, have conversation with them, because that's going to be building your team naturally without having to implement a team page.
Amen. Hallelujah to that. So I started my team page too early. And that exact same thing happened to me. Exactly what Emily described, I did. And my story is a whole long story that doesn't matter. But I do reiterate that. And if they don't have Marco Polo, I send video messages on Facebook.
Yep.
So you can video yourself and send a clip of yourself on Facebook. That way they see your face, they hear your voice, they see the kids in the background, they know that you care. And
hopefully you also called them when you sign them up. Hopefully you got them on the phone, so you have their phone number. So give them a quick call too. Don't be weird. It doesn't need to be weird. I know we don't really like to talk on the phone right now, but you can do that in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And I think that means a lot to your customers, like that you are reaching out to them. That's been something I've started implementing lately, and it feels really, really good.
Very much so. Do you guys call your people when you sign them up? Anybody? No, I know.
So important. So important. Go watch Brooke and Emily. I'm telling you, you need to do it. So important.
I feel like it does make it way more personal. Like it truly does make it more personal. I don't call as much, but the Engage app gives us their cell phone numbers.
Yeah.
And there is something about, texting each other and they have your number that makes them feel very special, because like they're in your phone. They're somebody special to you. Only your close people are in your phone. And so I do think that would make a huge difference. So I'm excited to do more of the phone calls myself.
Yes.
All right, girls.
Do voice clips.
Yeah, those are great too.
You just don't want to send 6 of them in a row, because nobody wants that. You can't fast forward them.
That's what I'm getting, is the 6, 8, 10, 15 voice clips in a row.
Yeah. And that's okay. If it's good, if it's moving forward, that's good. So good. Thank you, Emily, very much. We are we always close it out in prayer. Do you have 1 minute?
Yes, I do.
10 seconds, whatever the Lord does here. We're going to close this out in prayer. Okay. Dear God, we just thank you so much for every single thing that you do for us, for the opportunity to be together, for this fellowship, God. I just thank you for every single person on this call, Lord, that they took time out of their night to jump on this call, Lord. And I just pray that you speak to them. God, I just pray that you use the words and the knowledge and the wisdom that Emily gave us, Lord, and then you breathe your fire upon that, God, because without you, we are nothing. And so we just turn to you. We're open-handed with you, Lord. And we just pray that you speak through us in this business, God, that you give us creative thinking, God, that you convict us, Lord, when we are putting other things before you, God, and that you convict us when we're putting things before our business that should not be before our business, God. We just pray that you lead us, Lord. I just pray for favor and blessing upon every person here tonight, Lord. We just thank you so much for all that you do, and we love you so much, Lord. Amen. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Emily. Love you guys. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.